You mentioned Eric Weinstein. People should listen to your conversation with Eric. It's a fascinating one. It's great. It's non-standard. It just goes all over the
Yeah.
place, and there's humor and wit. It's great. So one interesting aspect that I also learned, perhaps not about you, but about Eric, well, about both, but Eric has a similar thing as with Jordan Peterson, which is if you ask them, do they believe in God? I think the answer, they're not comfortable answering that question, or they might say no, but they're usually just not comfortable answering that question. But there's a kind of sense that they would like to live life, a religious life, as if God exists.
I think that's exactly right. I think, first of all, Eric has a really deep appreciation of the Jewish tradition.
Right.
I don't know Peterson. I've read his stuff and I've reviewed his stuff and so on. But I think that Jungians are in their very approach. They believe that myth is the way the world works. And so it's not that big a leap to God, but there's still a distance there.
Is it possible to have your cake and eat it too? Is it possible to have the depth of a religious life without believing in God? Like, how do you make sense of Eric Weinstein's devout life within the tradition? I mean, I honestly think he believes in God, but doesn't believe in God. And it's oscillating like it's a quantum mechanical system
Right.
of some sort.
Schrodinger's God.
Yeah.
So I think that he would probably agree with what Elie Wiesel said, that a Jew can be angry at God or be disbelieving of God, but is not allowed to be indifferent to God. And I think Eric's not indifferent to God. Um, and it's different than Christianity. I've had this conversation many times because you can be very Jewish and have deep doubts about theological questions because Judaism isn't a religion. It's a religious family. And so you're born Jewish. Like if I said to you tomorrow, if I was Christian and I said, oh, I believe in Jesus today, and then tomorrow I didn't, I'm not Christian anymore. But if tomorrow I said, oh, I don't believe all this stuff, I'm still Jewish. So it's a more complicated system. Having said that, though, I think it's very hard to sustain over generations without some belief that the source of it is beyond ourselves. And in that sense, as in many others, Eric is unique.
Well, he was actually making that claim that we need faith to propagate this tradition through the generations.
Yeah.
So without that, the traditions crumble. It's a very interesting idea and a very interesting argument for devout faith, which is it's a glue that holds a tradition together. Otherwise, like traditions fall apart.
Right.
So you can't have the intensity of that tradition. I mean, on the other hand, you do see tradition. I mean, Thanksgiving, one of my favorite holidays.
So I would say traditions that are demanding fall apart. Traditions that require turkey might not fall apart, but traditions that make demands of you that are countercultural or are hard, they fall apart.
I think I need to introduce you to some Thanksgiving dinners that are quite demanding. Getting the family together.
You know, first of all, I'm a vegetarian, so I'm tough to have at Thanksgiving dinner. But there's a comedian named Kathy Landsman who one year I heard this on the radio and it stuck with me. She said that holidays are a chance to renew your resentments afresh. And that's basically what people do with their families. It's like, I'm going to go home and fight with the uncle again this year.